everyone, this is your math guru. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve the following trigonometric equations. Please don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button below for more easy to understand math concepts. We have solve x correct to one decimal place in each of the following, where the angle x is greater than 0 but less than 90 degrees. What that means is that is an acute angle as shown. In the first example, we have 5 times cos x equals to 3. To solve for x, the first step is to divide both sides by 5 because I want to isolate my trig ratio. I have 5 and 5, 1. I'm left with cos x equals 3 over 5. The next step, to isolate x, I'm going to move my cosine to the right hand side, and once it crosses the equal sign, it becomes the arc cos. So therefore, my x will be equal to arc cos of 3 over 5. The arc cos is the second function of your cos button on your calculator, and if you punch that in, I'm going to have x equals 53.1 degree. That's to one decimal place as stated in the question. The B part says 5 times cos 2x equals to 3. Starting with my 5, I'm going to take my 5 and divide both sides by that in order to isolate my trig ratio. So I have 5 and 5, 1. On my left hand side, I'm left with cos of 2x equals 3 over 5. Note that I can't divide both sides by 2 because the 2 is part of the angle. So therefore, what I'm going to do is to take out my cosine and move it to the right hand side. When I move it to the right hand side, it becomes the arc cos. So I have 2x left on my left hand side equals the arc cos of 3 over 5. To find the arc cos, that is going to be, you press the second function of your cosine button, and if you punch that in, I'm going to have arc cos of 3 over 5, that's 53.13 degrees, and therefore now to find x, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Therefore, the value of x will be 2 into 1, 53 divided by 53.13 divided by 2. That's going to give me 26.6 degrees to one decimal place. Let's look at the third example, which says 5 cos of, in bracket, x plus 10 degrees equals to 3. Note that because x plus 10 degrees is on the bracket, it refers to the whole angle as 1. So therefore, to start solving for x, the first step is to divide both sides by 5 to get rid of my 5 on the left hand side. Then I have 5 and 5, 1. I'm left with cosine of x plus 10 degrees equals 3 over 5. Because as I explained earlier, x plus 10 is 1 as it is, it's an angle. Therefore, I'm going to move my trig ratio, that's my cosine, to the right hand side. So therefore, I'm left with x plus 10 degrees equals, because it's moving to the other side, it becomes arc cos of 3 over 5. I have x plus 10 equals arc cos of 3 over 5, that's 53.13 degrees. I have x plus 10, and in order to find x, I'm going to move my 10 to the right hand side. That means take out 10 degrees from both sides. So therefore I have x equals 53.13 degrees minus 10 degrees. Therefore the value of x will be 43.1 degrees to one decimal place. The last but not the least example, I have 5 cos x divided by 2 equals to 3. The first step, I'm going to get rid of my 5 over 2, and to do that I start with my 2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So if I have times 2 on my left and times 2 on my right, what happens is I have 2 into 1. I'm left with 5 cos x equals to 3 times 2, which is 6. The next step is to divide both sides by 5 as shown. I have 5 and 5, 1. I'm left with cos x equals 6 over 5. So therefore, to find x, I'm going to move my cosine to the right hand side. It becomes arc cos of 6 over 5. Therefore, the value of x equals second function button of your cosine on your calculator. That's going to be an error that's undefined. That is because the domain of the arc cos of x is from -1 to +1. And if you look at 6 over 5, 6 over 5 is already 1.2, which is greater than the domain. That's the maximum you can have is 1. So therefore, if you check on your calculator and you press the second function button of your cosine sign of 6 over 5, it's going to give you an error. So which means x cannot be equal to the arc cos of 6 over 5. Thanks for watching. Bye.